Archie's POV great. The noodles were cold, again. They'd been sitting on my desk for over an hour, half-eaten, soaking up soy sauce, and regret while my laptop glowed at me like a bad omen. Twitter was open as usual, the only window that stayed awake with me at midnight. I scrolled through my own tweets like they belonged to someone else. 3 years out of college, and I'm still powered by caffeine and bad decisions. I'd posted an hour ago. 8 likes, 3 laughing emojis, 1 DM from Leo telling me to get therapy, standard Thursday, and then another notification, a familiar one. At late night, Muse liked it. Again, same time as always, between 12 and 12:10 a.m. like clockwork. Jesus, you're committed, I muttered, clicking their profile for maybe the 10th time this week. Blank bio, no posts. Following me, and apparently no one else. Creepy? Yeah, but weirdly comforting too. I shot Leo, my buddy since college, a DM. Me. Who the hell likes everything I post but never speaks? Leo, you've got a stalker, congrats. Me. Cool. Finally, some attention. He sent back a meme of a raccoon eating chips in the dark. Your soulmate, the caption said. I snorted. He wasn't wrong. The truth was, I liked the quiet. The world used to be so damn loud. Back in college, it was noisy 24/7. People, parties, laughter, Alistair's voice in my ear, his hand on my neck. The kind of warmth that left you raw when it disappeared. Oh, well, Alistair is my ex. The guy I still try not to think about. I shook my head. No, not tonight. I've been doing well. I typed another tweet. Sometimes I just miss being touched like it means something. Posted, sat back, waited for the usual nothing. But 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. At late night, Muse sent you a voice message. I froze. They'd never done that before. A voice message at 12:11 a.m. The timestamp almost made me laugh. Who sends a voice message in 2025 unless they're your mom or a scammer? Okay, I muttered, pacing a little. Probably a troll. Or one of those AI bots trying to sell me crypto. Totally fine. Still, I hovered over the play button longer than I should have. I pressed it. Soft static, then breathing. And then, Archie. Just my name. Whispered like a secret. Followed by a low exhale. My stomach dropped. It wasn't some random creep. It wasn't a stranger. That voice, smooth, deliberate, slightly rough around the edges, was branded in my memory. I'd fallen asleep to that voice, drunk off it, ruined by it. Alistair? I whispered, as if saying it might make it not true. I replayed it. Once, twice. Third time, slower, like I could have misheard. But the breathy way he said my name, no one else ever did that. Flash memory hit me like a punch. His head resting against my thigh in our old dorm room. A late night record spinning on repeat. Him mumbling, "You think too much, Archie." Me laughing, carding fingers through his hair. "You talk too much." He'd kissed my palm and said, "Then we're perfect." That same tone, same voice. Now it was whispering at me from a faceless account at midnight. I shut my laptop hard, breath catching. No, you don't get to crawl out of the internet like this. The phone buzzed again. At late night, Muse is typing. I blocked it before the message could come through, hands shaking. It took me a full minute to realize I was pacing the living room like a trapped animal. The walls felt smaller. Every breath was louder. My pulse kept tripping over itself. 3 years, I muttered, gripping the edge of my counter. 3 years. And you still find a way to haunt me. I sat down again, staring at my reflection in the black laptop screen. My hair was longer now, eyes a little duller, the kind of face that looks tired even after sleep. And under all of that, anger. Not the kind that yells, but the kind that sits heavy in your chest because it still cares. Why now? Why me? I ran a hand over my face, whispering, "You don't get to miss me now. You made sure of that when you left." And still, I couldn't shake the sound of his voice, that one whisper. The way it said my name like it still meant something. I tried to distract myself, turned the TV on, played music, scrolled through anything, but it kept coming back. That night 3 years ago, graduation week. Alistair had shown up to my apartment, jacket half-zipped, eyes unreadable. He'd kissed me like a goodbye he couldn't say. When I'd asked, "What's wrong?" he'd said, "You'll understand someday." Then he walked out, just like that. No texts, no calls, not even a clean cut. Just vanished. And now, 3 years later, his ghost whispered my name through a voice note. I stood again, grabbed my phone, and hovered over unblock for a full 30 seconds. My thumb trembled. I hated that it did. "Don't," I told myself quietly. "You're not 16. You're not that stupid." Still, I whispered into the quiet, like maybe he could hear it somehow. "You don't get to mean anything anymore." The apartment stayed silent. I sat back down, the hum of the fridge filling the space where his voice used to be. My phone lit up one last time. A push notification from Twitter saying my latest tweet was doing numbers. I stared at it for a long while. "Yeah," I muttered bitterly. "Guess people love watching car crashes." I shut the screen, leaned back, eyes burning. Maybe peace doesn't last when it's quiet. Maybe it never did. 3 days later. First day with a new boss. Don't screw this up. Please, for once. That's me, sprinting downtown with a latte in one hand and my dignity dangling by a thread. My tie's crooked, shirt slightly damp from the sprint, and some intern-looking kids staring at me like I'm about to rob the place. Heart and gray digital. The dream job where I have been working for a year. I was informed that a new CEO will be coming, who will also be supervising the ongoing project personally. I skid into the revolving door, muttering, "Okay, Archie, breathe. New boss, old office, zero emotional damage. Totally fine." The elevator doors open, and I step in with 2 other people. I catch my reflection in the mirror, tie still crooked, bags under eyes. Perfect. "Hi, I'm Archie Quinn, chronic overthinker," I whisper to myself, straightening the knot. Then louder, trying out my smile. "Hi, I'm Archie Quinn, your content strategist who absolutely doesn't still think about his ex from college." The woman beside me coughs. I shut up. By the time I reach the top floor, my hands are shaking just enough to slosh the latte onto my sleeve. Great. I walk out pretending to be composed, even though I smell like Starbucks regret. The conference room's buzzing. Bright screens, people chatting, that corporate energy that's both exciting and exhausting. I recognize a few faces from LinkedIn stalking. Everyone seems friendly enough. Then the door opens, and my world stops. Alistair Hart. He's in a white shirt, sleeves rolled, tie loose, voice smooth and commanding like time hadn't even touched him. The years melted in one brutal second. He steps to the front, confident but casual. "Morning, everyone. I'll be leading the digital rebrand for this quarter." His eyes skim the room, then land on me. It's subtle. A microsecond, but I feel it like gravity. "Good to see familiar faces," he says, tone careful. I almost choke on my saliva. No way, no damn way. Out of 7 billion people, it's him. The universe must have seen me block him and said, "Oh, sweetie, you thought that was permanent." Everyone started introducing themselves, but I couldn't utter a word when it was my turn to introduce myself. Jamie, my coworker, coughs once to break my reverie. I am Archie Quinn, content strategist." I stuttered. "Mr. Quinn," Alistair says evenly, not a single muscle twitching out of line. "I hope we get along." "Mr. Quinn," the same mouth that once said baby, mine, and then goodbye. I clear my throat. "Yeah, Hopefully. My voice sounds like it's been run through gravel. Someone's talking about quarterly projections, but I can't hear a damn thing. I'm too busy staring at the curve of Alistair's hand gripping the edge of the table. Same long fingers. Same silver ring on his right hand. When everyone's asked to share their current project focus, I mention a tagline concept for the upcoming campaign. Nothing major, just a few words tossed into the air. But his eyes had found me then too. Amused. Almost proud. A memory flashes. His fingers brushing my jaw once, the night before finals. "You're shaking," he'd said. I'd whispered, "So steady me." He did, too well, all along the night. Now he's standing 3 feet away like none of it ever happened. The meeting drags. My notes are useless scribbles. Why is he here? Don't look at him, God. He still looks good. Stop it, stop it, stop it. When it ends, I'm out of there fast. Jamie catches up to me by the coffee machine. "New boss seems intense, huh?" Jamie says. "Smart though, total control freak." "Yeah," I mumble. "He's something." "Did you two?" "Nope," I cut in. "Never met him in my life." Lie. Straight through my teeth. I bury myself in work the rest of the morning. Copy drafts, brand tone alignment. Everything that keeps me from accidentally thinking about his voice saying my name. But fate doesn't do mercy. By noon, he's at my desk. "Good input earlier," he says casually, hands in pockets. "You've always had a way with words." The always hits me like a dart. I force a smile. Guess I learned from the best liar I know. Alistair smirks, controlled, but I see the flicker in his eyes. "You still bite first, huh?" I meet. His gaze cold. Old habits. The tension's thick enough to taste. He walks away, back straight, but not before glancing at me once more. That silent, familiar glance. The one who used to say, "Don't fight me. Just feel this." My stomach knots. After lunch, I sneak out to the break room, phone in hand. Open Twitter. No new notifications. No at late night muse. Of course not. I blocked him. I let out a humorless laugh. "So you're Alistair Hart now. Of course you are." Flashback again. Graduation night. Both of us drunk on cheap wine sitting on his apartment floor. He'd said, "I'm gonna build something real someday. Something that matters." I'd said, "Then let me matter with you." He'd smiled, small and soft. "You already do." And then he left. Now he's here, sitting in a glass office with his name on the door. I'm the idiot still trying to catch his ghost online. Late afternoon, he calls me in to discuss a campaign pitch. The whole thing's professional. Until it isn't. "Your copy has heart," he says quietly, scanning my draft. "You always wrote like you meant every word." I lean back. "Yeah, well, I stopped writing about people who leave." "Archie," his jaw tightens. "I didn't want to." "Then why did you?" He looks at me. Really looks this time. "Because I thought I was saving you." I laugh, bitter. "You saved me from happiness. Mission accomplished." A long silence stretches between us. Neither of us breaks it until a worker knocks on the door with some documents, and he instantly shifts his demeanor to professional. "Let's not talk about that here, Mr. Quinn." I hate how hearing him say my name still feels good. "Right," I mutter. "Strictly business." "Strictly business," he repeats, but his eyes say otherwise. By the time I'm back at my desk, my pulse is a mess. Jamie throws me a grin. "So, boss likes your ideas?" "Yeah," I say flatly. "Guess I made an impression." When everyone leaves, I stay late, pretending to work, but my mind's not on the screen. It's behind that glass office door where Alistair sits, head bowed over paperwork, sleeves rolled, focus sharp. I catch myself staring and curse under my breath. So much for blocking him out of my life. I shut my laptop and leave before he can catch me looking again. Because if he does, I don't know if I'll be able to look away. A week later. Friday night, I'd spent the entire week dodging Alistair Hart like he was a damn biohazard, which, in my defense, he kind of was. A 6-foot, sharp-jawed, suit-wearing hazard who somehow managed to approve my pitch out of all the others. Every meeting since Monday felt like some twisted psychological test. I'd look up and catch him already looking at me, calm and unreadable, while I pretended to take notes I'd never read again. So, yeah. By Friday, I'd earned my beer. I was sprawled on Leo's couch, half a bottle in, scrolling through memes I wasn't even laughing at when Leo said, "By the way, my roomie, Jake, invited some of his people tonight. Pretty chill crowd. Your boss might be there." I blinked. "My what?" Leo looked unbothered, stretching like a cat. "Yeah, Hart. Jake knows him from some old client project or something." Well, Leo knew Alistair since college days when we were dating. Hence, my dude knew the kind of chaos I was dealing with nowadays. I groaned, dragging a hand down my face. "You've got to be kidding me. The man multiplies." Leo laughed. "Relax, he's not gonna bite." "Not the problem," I muttered. "The problem is, I might let him." The house is already pulsing when we walk in. Low lights, a soft haze, the bass vibrating through the floor. People are scattered between the living room and the kitchen, and the smell of cheap liquor mixes with some expensive cologne I can't name. I make a beeline for the snack table because survival means carbs. And then I see him, leaning against the counter, casual shirt, sleeves rolled, beer bottle dangling from his fingers. Alistair Hart. Looking maddeningly good and criminally out of place. Our eyes meet. His smile flickers. Small, unsure, but real. "Didn't expect to see you here." I snort, grabbing a chip. "Didn't expect you to ruin my off hours too." Jake wanders over, grinning between us. "Wait, you two know each other?" I don't even hesitate. "He used to grade my life choices." Alistair's chuckle is quiet, almost swallowed by the music. "And you always had a problem with authority." "Still do," I shoot back, though my chest is a mess of heat and ache. The night stretches. People dance, laugh, spill drinks, and I keep telling myself to stay on the other side of the room. But he's magnetic in the worst way. Like gravity forgot its rules around him. Eventually, I end up outside, needing air. The porch is cooler, quieter. City hums in the distance. Cigarette. Smoke curling from someone's half-lit ember. I breathe in the calm until a voice follows me out. "Didn't mean to make things hard for you at work." I turn, and there he is again, always finding me. "You existing does that?" I say flatly. He exhales, resting against the porch rail. "I deserved that." "Try deserved worse," I mutter. There's silence, the kind that presses, not fills. His eyes are on me, softer than I remember, but still sharp enough to slice through the walls I've spent 3 years building. "Archie." He looked over finally, jaw tight. "Your mom came to me 3 years ago. Said I was distracting you. That if I cared about you, I'd leave." The words hit like a slap. I straightened. Beer forgotten. "She what?" He nodded once. "I thought she was right. You were so focused on us, I thought maybe I was pulling you off track, so I ghosted me." "Yeah." "You ghosted me because my mom asked you to?" I said, voice rising. "Are you hearing yourself? You think that was noble?" He winced. "I thought I was doing the right thing. You had plans, a future. And you thought vanishing would help?" "I hated myself for it," he said, voice breaking just a little. "I thought maybe she was right. That I'd ruin you if I stayed." My throat felt tight. Anger wrestling with something rawer underneath. "You don't get to call that love." He stepped closer. Just one step, but it was enough to make my pulse spike. "I call it stupid. I never stopped loving you, Archie." I froze. For a second, the air between us wasn't air anymore. It was electricity. Old memories flashed. His laugh against my neck, his hand brushing mine at the art exhibit, The way he'd whisper my name like it was his favorite song. I wanted to yell. I wanted to kiss him. I did neither. I just whispered, "You don't get to say that anymore." He looked like he wanted to reach out, but I stepped back before he could. "Don't," I said quietly. "Just don't." I turned, leaving the porch, leaving him standing there with that same damn heartbreak in his eyes that I'd carried for years. The city air was cold against my face as I walked home alone. Streetlights blurred in my vision. 3 years, I muttered under my breath, shoving my hands into my pockets. And it still hurts like day one. I didn't see him come after me. But I swear, for a second I felt it. That tug in my chest that used to pull me back to him. And that was the worst part. I still wanted him, even now. 2 weeks later, I hadn't said more than 10 neutral words to Alistair in 2 weeks. 10, I counted. Morning. Got the brief? Yes, I'll fix it. Email me the revisions. That was it. That was us now. Clean, professional, detached. Except it wasn't. Because every damn meeting felt like static in my bloodstream. Every time he leaned forward to make a point, his cologne hit the air. Warm, steady, sandalwood and sin. And I forgot how to breathe. He's everywhere. In the hallway. In my head. In the way he still says my name like it's something he gets to keep. I tell myself it's just proximity. That I'd feel this way about any ex who knew me down to my worst. But that's a lie. Because when I look up and catch him watching me, not in the cocky, self-assured way he used to, but quiet, almost careful, it stirs something I'd buried too deep to admit still existed. Thursday night. Everyone else had gone home hours ago. The office was dim except for the glow of monitors and the hum of the air conditioning. I was hunched over a presentation deck, trying to meet a deadline that didn't care if my heart was still on life support. Deadlines don't care about heartbreak, I muttered to myself, taking another sip of cold coffee. Truer words, a voice said behind me. I jumped, spinning around. Alistair stood near the doorway, sleeves rolled, jacket off. He looked like the kind of trouble that doesn't knock before coming in. "You're still here?" he asked. "Deadlines," I said, lifting my cup. "They're cruel, lovers." He smiled, small but real. "Mind if I—" He gestured toward the chair across from me. I hesitated, then shrugged. "Suit yourself." He sat, setting a stack of reports between us. "I was just finishing the quarterly brief. Figured you'd need this." Our fingers brushed as he slid the papers over. Just skin. But it sent a pulse through me so sharp I forgot how to act normal for a second. I kept my eyes on the screen. "Thanks." For a few minutes, silence filled the room. The kind that wasn't uncomfortable. Just too full. Then softly he said, "You still hate staying late?" I glanced at him. "Always have. Even back in college." I snorted. "You mean when you drag me to the library at 11 p.m. to make me study and call it a date?" He chuckled. "You complained every time. And yet you still did it." He leaned back, eyes glinting. "You always worked better when someone was there." "Yeah, until that someone disappeared." His smile faltered. "I deserved that too." "You deserved a lot of things," I muttered. He looked down, fingers tracing the edge of the table. "You know what's weird?" "What?" "I used to think time would dull it." His voice dropped lower, almost to himself. "But sitting here now, it feels like 3 years didn't do a damn thing." I swallowed, looking away. Time didn't dull it. It just made it quieter. He nodded slowly. "Quiet doesn't mean gone." Silence again, thicker this time. He glanced at me, really looked. "You're still wearing that scent," he murmured. "What scent?" "Vanilla," he said, barely above a whisper. "Still smells like vanilla." My pulse jumped. Still crossing lines, I said, without looking up. He tilted his head, eyes searching mine. Tell me to stop. I should have. I should have said it, should have walked out, should have done anything but look at him. But I did. And suddenly, all the noise in my head, the anger, the longing, the 3 years of silence, collapsed into one sharp moment. I should, I said, voice low as I stood up to leave. He moved before I could think. His hand caught my wrist before going for my jaw, gentle but certain. And then his mouth was on mine. Hot, desperate, familiar. The kiss wasn't soft. It was every fight we never finished, every apology we never said. I pushed back, one hand in his hair, the other gripping his shirt like I could tear the past out of it. Papers scattered to the floor. My chair hit the desk with a dull thud. He pulled back first, breathing hard, eyes dark. You still drive me insane, I whispered. Yeah, he said, lips ghosting mine. But I missed being insane with you. For a second, we just stood there, chest to chest, breaths tangled, silence louder than the city outside. Then I stepped back, palms trembling. This is a mistake. Maybe, he said, but it's ours. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The days that followed blurred. Quick glances in meetings, fingers brushing when passing files. His hand steadied mine when I dropped a pen. Little things that shouldn't matter but did. We became ghosts in plain sight. Silent, deliberate, careful. A shared look across the table that lasted too long. A quiet laugh in the elevator where the reflection caught more than it should. A text at midnight. Still awake. A reply. Trying not to be. It wasn't just lust. It was something deeper. Dangerous. Unspoken. A pulse that wouldn't quit. One night, I found myself in his office again. Both of us half working, half pretending we weren't counting the seconds until we'd break another rule. He looked at me then, serious. Archie. Yeah? He hesitated, eyes tracing my face like he was searching for something. Do you ever think we'd make it work if we tried again? My throat tightened. That depends, I said slowly, on how many times you plan to run. He gave a faint, broken laugh. So, slim odds then. Statistically. 0, I said, voice quiet. But apparently I'm bad with statistics. The air between us felt heavy. Neither of us moved, both waiting for the other to say something that would tip the scale one way or the other. Finally, I whispered, if this ends the same way, I'll never forgive you. He looked down, something flickering behind his eyes. Regret, maybe, or the ghost of wanting to argue. But he didn't. He just nodded once like he understood, even if he wished he didn't. A month later, I hadn't realized how or when I let Alistair back into my life. Maybe it started with that kiss. Sharp, unexpected, impossible to forget. Because after that, everything started shifting. He'd find excuses to stop by my office. Lunch breaks are somehow aligned. Evenings blurred into late-night emails that turned into small talk, and small talk that turned into laughter. And I let him. God help me, I let him. It was another brutal Thursday. Deadlines breathing down my neck. Inbox overflowing. Caffeine failing to do its job. I was leaving the break room, phone in hand, when I heard it. Sat. The overseas position is still open if Alistair wants it, someone said, followed by the familiar voice of Ms. Peterson from HR. The London office is pushing for a quick confirmation. I froze. The other voice, our division head, Mr. Langford, chuckled. If he's smart, he'll take it. He's too good to be stuck here leading a bunch of noobs. They moved past me, their conversation fading down the hall. But all I could hear was the echo of if Alistair wants it. That sinking, bitter ache spread through my chest. Just like before. Just like every damn time. I waited. Waited until the office emptied and the hum of computers replaced the chatter. Alistair was still at his desk, sleeves rolled up, typing like nothing had changed. "Planning to tell me before or after you ghost again?" I asked. He looked up, startled. His hands stilled on the keyboard. "Archie." "You weren't supposed to hear that," he said carefully, like he was handling a bomb. "So it's true," I said, crossing my arms. "You were leaving. I was offered." He stood up, closing the distance between us slowly. "I didn't accept." I laughed once, short and bitter. "You expect me to trust that?" His jaw tightened. "I'm tired of running." I stared at him. "You said that last time." "I mean it this time." His voice dropped, softer now. I turned it down. "I don't want anywhere that doesn't have you." Something in my chest cracked open. I didn't want to believe him, but I wanted to believe him. "You mean that?" I asked quietly. He stepped closer, close enough for me to smell the faint mix of coffee and his cologne. "I do." For a moment, neither of us moved. His eyes flicked over my face. Slow, searching, careful, like he was afraid I'd disappear. "Then stay," I whispered. "Choose me this time." His hand hovered at my wrist, not touching yet. "I'm choosing you now." The air between us felt different, charged, heavy with everything we hadn't said. My pulse stuttered. The faint hum of computers, the distant sound of rain against the glass, it all blurred into background noise. "You still don't make it easy," I murmured. He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that used to undo me. "You never liked easy." I hated that he was right. His fingers brushed mine, tentative, testing. I didn't pull away. For a second, I let myself feel it. The quiet warmth of his skin, the ghost of what we used to be. "I don't know how to do this again," I admitted. "Then we'll figure it out," he said. "Together. Or not. Whatever you need." It wasn't a promise. It wasn't forever. But it felt real. And maybe that was enough. I let out a shaky breath. "You always know what to say to make me hate you less." Maybe that's my superpower. I almost laughed. Almost. We stood there in silence, neither of us moving to leave, the air between us alive with everything unspoken. Maybe love isn't about never leaving. Maybe it's about coming back when it counts. My phone buzzed. "Mom, come home for dinner tonight." My face turned grim, now being aware that she is the reason for my 3 years of heartbreak. Alistair saw the text on my phone. "Want me to drop you?" I stared at him for a moment, weighing the chances of going through heartbreak again, before sighing. "If you insist." Same night. By the time I reached Mom's house, my chest felt like a fist around my ribs. The porch light glowed over the chipped white steps, the same one that used to mean safety when I was a kid. Now it just looked like interrogation lighting. She was already in the kitchen, standing by the counter with her arms folded like she'd been practicing this conversation all evening. "Is it true?" she asked. I hovered in the doorway. "What's true?" She turned, her tone sharp enough to cut. "You're seeing him again." My pulse stuttered. "Who?" "Don't," she warned. "Alistair Hart, your college ex. I saw him drop you off a few steps from the gate. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Tell me you're not together with him." Her voice cracked at the end, like the anger was fighting its way through fear. I exhaled. "Yeah, I am." The silence that followed was louder than shouting. She pressed her lips together, eyes flashing with disbelief. "Archie, after everything he did, after what you were like when he left, how can you possibly think this is a good idea?" "Maybe because you never asked what really happened." "Don't turn this on me," she snapped. "I'm your mother. I watched you fall apart for months while you told him to leave," I cut in. Her mouth opened, then froze. "He told you?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "Guess you forgot I was the one who deserved the truth." Her arms dropped to her sides. The fight in her voice faltered. "I thought I was protecting you." I laughed, Sharp and small. From what? From being loved? From being happy? Mom's jaw tightened. Archie, you were failing half your classes because of him. You stopped caring about anything except that boy. I wasn't going to watch you throw your future away. I stared at her, anger bubbling up hot. You didn't watch me, Mom. You controlled me. You called him behind my back and told him to walk out of my life. Her face paled, eyes flicking away. I did what I had to do. He agreed with me. He said it was for your good. I laughed, but it came out bitter. He agreed because he respected you. Because you guilted him into thinking he was ruining me. Her voice rose. He was. You were infatuated, Archie. You skipped exams. You fought with professors. I was happy, I snapped. Do you even know what that felt like? You made me believe love was some kind of distraction I had to earn after success. She looked like I'd slapped her. The silence that followed was heavy and real. Finally, she said quietly, I was scared. You're all I had left after your father. I didn't want to lose you too. My voice softened. You didn't lose me, Mom. You just made me smaller. Something shifted then, her eyes wet, mouth trembling. He really loves you, doesn't he? I nodded slowly. He always did. You just didn't let me find that out the right way. She exhaled shakily, sitting down at the table. Maybe I was wrong about how love and ambition can't mix. A pause. Then, almost reluctantly, bring him to dinner next Sunday. Next Sunday, I don't know who was more nervous, me or Alistair. He stood outside my house holding a box of pastries like they were peace offerings. You sure about this? He asked quietly. No, I said, fixing his collar. But you're already here, so don't chicken out now. He gave a soft laugh. I've faced boardrooms scarier than this. I chuckled. Yeah? My mom doesn't do PowerPoints. She does psychological warfare. When I opened the door, she stood there, apron on, polite but stiff. Alistair, she said, her tone formal. It's been a long time. Mrs. Quinn, he said with that old calm confidence, though I caught the flicker of nerves in his eyes. You look well. She just nodded and gestured toward the dining table. Dinner's getting cold. The first 15 minutes were awkward as hell. Clinking cutlery, weather talk, occasional forced smiles. I was about to jump through the window when she suddenly asked, So, what made you come back here? He looked at me before answering. Honestly, I wanted to fix things I broke. She studied him like she was trying to find cracks in the answer. And you think you can? I don't know, he admitted, his voice steady but soft. But I'd rather try and fail than run again over someone's influence. Something shifted in her face. A faint, reluctant respect. By dessert, she was the one talking more. She asked about his work, his parents, and even laughed once when he told her about me spilling coffee over my own project proposal idea in my first interview. I sat back quietly, watching them. Two people who had once been at opposite ends of my heartbreak, now sitting at the same table sharing apple pie. When we finished, she got up to pour more tea and said, almost like she didn't mean to, I was wrong about success. It's not grades or job titles. It's being with someone who makes you yourself. Alistair's gaze softened. That's what I want for him. Always. Mom froze for a second, then met his eyes. Then don't you dare leave again, even if God himself tells you to. Her voice wavered at the end, but the warmth was there. A truce wrapped in an order. He nodded. I don't plan to. Outside, the night air was cool, the porch light humming faintly above us. I exhaled, long and shaky. That could have gone worse. Alistair chuckled softly. I'll take less than catastrophic as a win. I turned toward him. She grilled you harder than my college thesis defense. Worth it, he said simply. We stood there for a long moment. The world felt still. Feels weird, I said. like the past finally ran out of ways to haunt us. He smiled, small and real. Guess it got tired. I laughed under my breath. Good, because I'm not running anymore. He stepped closer, his fingers brushing mine. Neither am I. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was full, warm. He tilted his head slightly, eyes searching mine. No rush, no plea, just quiet certainty. I didn't stop him this time. The kiss was soft, unhurried, the kind of kiss that didn't ask for forgiveness, just understanding. When we finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine, breath mingling in the cool air. "I've missed this," he whispered. "Yeah," I said, smiling. "Me too." For once, loving him didn't feel like losing myself. It felt like coming home. Epilogue. A year later. If someone had told me a year ago that Mom would call Alistair her favorite son-in-law candidate, now I'd have laughed. Every Sunday dinner, she texted him first, not me. Sometimes I caught them gossiping about me on the phone, and honestly, I didn't even mind. It was peace. Weird. Domestic peace. Tonight was our college reunion. Same old campus smell. Beer, perfume, nostalgia. Leo waved from the bar, yelling, "Your man's late again?" I groaned. He said 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Classic Alistair, Leo laughed. I flopped into a chair, pulled out my phone, and typed, "If your boyfriend says, 'on my way,' start counting in geologic time." Late night muse. Still late. Not even a minute later. Ding. A DM at Late Night Muse. Look up. I frowned, chuckling. You've gotta be. The lights went out. A single spotlight hit the small stage, and there he was, Alistair, in that damn black shirt that always made my brain short-circuit, holding a guitar. He strummed once, voice low and steady. "I met you in the dark, you lit me up." Every sound in the room fades. His voice is soft but steady, every lyric landing like it's been waiting a year to be sung. "I want to live with you, even when we're ghosts." He looks right at me when he says that, and damn it, my chest actually hurts. The crowd cheers softly, but all I can see is him. When he finished, he looked straight at me. "Archie Quinn," he said, smiling nervously. "I don't have a ring, just a promise. You still in?" I walked up, heart pounding. "You idiot," I whispered. "You didn't even have to ask." He grinned, stepping closer. "Still smells like vanilla." "Still crossing lines," I breathed. Then I kissed him. Slow, sure, the room breaking into cheers around us. And for once, it didn't feel like a beginning or an ending, just ours. The end ever had an ex walk back into your life just when you finally got your piece together? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force, and consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.